Hello, I've been running, and the name Emerson John Charles popped into my head. Who is Emerson John Charles?
Good day, I'm Emerson John Charles. I am into fitness, community development, youth development, and of course, innovation.
And what inspired you to be involved in those three activities?
I actually blame my secondary school teacher, Mr. Albert King, but he was actually the sports teacher, and he also was the chess coach. And his way, he actually didn't know how to play chess when he formed the chess team. And he set it up so we all taught each other and we went out there and we got medals against more experienced schools. So that infused a lot of this thing of youth development and innovation and community into my spirit. My school is some know it as Belmont Intermediate, Belmont Boys Secondary. And now it's called St. Francis Boys College.
Tell us about your experience there.
Has had such a positive experience on me that I'm actually an executive on its alumni association. I'm the education officer. And it really gave me a foundation to look at the world in a different way. There are people from a variety of different economic backgrounds, different perspectives, and the teachers didn't just care about the passing on the knowledge, but they so cared about developing us as human beings and as young men, and gave us a lot of opportunities.
And when you reflect on some of the persons who went to school with you, what are your thoughts?
When I look back now, we are all in our guys from my year, we're all in one WhatsApp group, and we always motivate each other. We see persons entering different fields. And so our conversations and our development has been on a whole other level, and we've kept that bond and love with each other. People think the Belmont community in that way, but there are quite a lot of so-called prestige schools in the area. St. Francis Girls College, Providence, right around the corner, there's Holy Name Convent. So the area has that stigma. And as we know, there are some areas, parts of Belmont, especially those closer to the Queen's Park Savannah. It's high income property and premium property right now. But despite that, when I went there, they were always found that there's a sense of community and pride from the area that was brought into us. And then if you went out on the road, some of them could be like, represent the school well. And of course, decades later, people still in the area still refer to it as Belmont Intermediate.
So tell me, who are you to?
Well, most people who now get to know me, they refer to me as Innovation, Mr. Innovation. And that's because I hold quite a few roles. I'm an ISO, National Innovation Expert. I'm the chairman of the National Memorial Committee of Innovation Management, we're trying to build Bureau standards. I'm the chairman of the Innovation Association of Trinidad and Tobago. And in the last few years, I've been doing a lot of speaking engagements. I'll write a lot of articles on this topic. And just to briefly say what innovation is the transformation of ideas into new products and services and business models. And that is something that is required or as a country and as a business to have a competitive advantage to grow and thrive. However, the international data shows that Trinidad and Tobago is not doing well at all when it comes to innovation and these new frontier technologies such as artificial intelligence and robotics.
So if we're not doing well, what is your recommendation for us to be transformed?
There is no international standard for managing innovation, which is managing ideas. It's so new, it only came out in September. Fortunately, the Bureau of Standards saw it fit, and I led that adoption of that standard to be the national innovation standard of Trinidad and Tobago. So I think we need to get all citizens, academia, public sector, and private sector to read that document, understand it, and start to implement it. But that is the only way we could prepare ourselves for this new age, because we're in a new age of great disruption and volatility, full of kinds of VUCA environments. That's the only way we could really prepare for it and prepare for the future.
I'd like you to reflect on that document and what is the thing that pops into your mind that you wish to communicate about?
What made me want to get involved in development, because as an international ISO innovation expert, I worked on that document, and I want everyone to read it because we don't really understand what managing ideas is in Trinidad and Tobago. And the thing that stood out to me is that it's now known and understood that there are 5 steps to developing an idea. And it's, you find an opportunity or problem, you create a concept or prototype, you test and validate that concept or prototype, you develop the solution, and you deploy the solution. And most people, if they say that they have an idea or they're going to launch a business, the first thing I hear them look to do is to go to the stage 5, which is to deploy. So they want to go and register a business, they want to go and write a business plan. But when you rush to stage 5 and leave out all those other steps, you increase the likelihood of your venture being a failure. So I want everyone to understand that what they need to do to really create new forms of wealth in the country.
How will we create new forms of wealth?
Well, first, we need to have an entire army of individuals who know the steps and who know the tools and frameworks that need to be used for each of those steps. So if I ask someone, how do you find opportunities? Most people don't know. How do you develop and create concepts? Most people don't know and don't even know that there are tools such as like a business model canvas, some call a value proposition canvas, and they like, how do you even test that? People don't know. So I want everyone to create an army of people who, the fancy word is design thinkers. You need an army of design thinkers. You know, the thing with innovation and developing ideas is that from a top level, it's really hard to choose the winners. So if we have everyone developing the ideas, because innovation doesn't have to be in the commercial sector, it could be the social sector, could be NGO sector. We could just have to solve all our problems independently. But at the same time, there are reports that highlight from an export perspective, there are certain industries that we already have a competitive advantage in. There are ICT, products and services, high value agriculture, maritime, aviation, and the marine sector, maritime services. So from an export perspective, that's what we need to focus on. But generally, we need that team just working on all our ideas because we have a lot of problems of different types in this lovely country of ours.
There's an issue that I keep seeing, and that is a very bureaucratic approach to things. How can we transform that?
I personally say bureaucracy could be the death of innovation. And the bureaucracy has its role and has its importance. But let's say within an organization, you're using the international standard and you say, okay, I'm going to form an innovation department, as a lot of companies are starting to do. But they cannot manage that department the same way you could manage the rest of your organization with all the bureaucracy. Because one, when you're developing ideas, you don't there's a lot of failure, a lot of experimentation. And in a bureaucracy, such ways of operating and thinking are punished. So you have to have a different culture for that group of people who you have focusing on a particular type of innovation.
If you had an opportunity to change our government, what would you suggest to them?
Oh, the first thing I would do is to create a national innovation agency, because we have no one who's strategically managing and coordinating our innovation ecosystem, which is why we have very low scores on the Global Innovation Index and the Readiness for Frontier Technologies Index. I will create an innovation department within the Ministry of Planning itself to track and develop the data for those international indices and create our own. And lastly, I would create some national innovation centers in those 5 areas that I mentioned for us to develop our potential to export high-value, technology-driven products and services.
Just to remember as we come to an end.
That anyone can innovate. And that is because we have a whole host of tools and frameworks that didn't exist 10 to 15 years ago to help anyone develop their ideas into new products and services. So that helped a lot of people in the country and the world back. But we just need to learn and get access to first the ISO 6001 to know how to manage innovation, and then from there, learn all the other tools and frameworks.
Thank you ever so much, Emerson John Charles. Until next time while running, be safe.